Dana, perhaps, if I may.
Go ahead, Marta.
Yes,
From
thank
the
you, Dana,
social
because indeed,
perspective.
exactly, perhaps I can give a little bit of elements regarding the social aspect indeed when it comes to the employment conditions, because obviously the slaughterhouses are a place of employment as well as a public spaces in that sense, which would fall under the health, let's say, elements. So perhaps what I can say when it comes to the issue of ventilators that Tommaso just mentioned is, and more generally, is that what the EU has in place is a regulatory framework, EU health and safety framework, which defines certain working conditions in various workplaces. And as part of the response to the COVID pandemic, the European Agency for Safety and Health at Work, in close coordination with the Commission, has issued guidance for employers to help manage risks related to COVID in the workplace. And this guidance makes specific references to the importance of good ventilation, for example, in workplaces, in order to minimize exposure to COVID-19 at work. What I can also say is that the Commission and the agency has also worked closely together to prepare EU guidance for employers on coming back to work after COVID-19 lockdown. This guidance was published on 24th of April and is a living document, which is regularly being updated to quickly respond to changing situations. So when managing risk, priority should be given to combating risk at the source, and ventilation should be one of the elements to be considered in conjunction with other matters. I can, of course, give you more elements on following this online briefing. What I can also say is that the Commission has issued guidelines which are also related to seasonal workers in the context of the coronavirus pandemic, since we know that a lot of the people employed in slaughterhouses are seasonal workers. So again, I would invite you to consult that document. I'll be happy to take follow-up questions as well after the online briefing. Thank you.
Thank you very much for these clarifications, Marta, which are very useful.